You are being watched. Right now. By someone you call a friend. They smile at you. They laugh at your jokes. They sit at your table. But behind their eyes, there is a calculation running, a cold arithmetic measuring your value against their ambition. You call this person loyal. You call them close. But you are wrong. They are not your friend. They are an actor studying their role, and the moment you stop being useful, the moment your light dims and theirs has a chance to shine brighter, the mask will fall. And you will see the face underneath. The face that was always there. The face of someone who never loved you. They loved what you could do for them. You know who I am talking about. You have felt the coldness. You have noticed the subtle shifts. Perhaps you are looking at their name in your phone right now, feeling the knot tighten in your stomach. 500 years ago, Niccolò Machiavelli understood something that most men today are too weak to accept, that he wrote to princes about the nature of loyalty, about friendship, about trust. And his message was carved from ice. Men are so simple, and so subject to present necessities, that he who seeks to deceive will always find someone who will allow himself to be deceived. Friendship, in the eyes of civilized society, is sacred, unbreakable, a bond forged in trust and time. But Machiavelli saw through the theater that he knew that most friendships are not bonds. They are contracts. And like all contracts, they are only honored when both parties benefit. The friend who stands beside you in your success may be the same one who plants the knife when you stumble. Not because they are evil, but because their nature, their hunger, their quiet resentment has been waiting for the right moment to strike. Today you are going to learn how to test them. Not with confrontation. Not with accusations. But with silent psychological experiments that reveal character the way heat reveals invisible ink. If you have been betrayed, if you have been used, if you are tired of bleeding for people who would not cross the street to save you, then what I am about to give you is a scalpel. And you are going to use it to perform surgery on your social circle. But be warned. Once you run these tests, once you see the results, you cannot unsee them. You will lose people. You will lose the illusion of friendship. And some of you are not ready for that level of clarity. Why do you keep trusting people who do not deserve it? Because you project your own conscience onto them. You assume that because you would never betray a friend, they would not betray you. You think loyalty is universal. It is not. Loyalty is rare. It is expensive. And most people cannot afford it. This is what I call the projection trap. You see your reflection in their eyes and mistake it for their soul. But Machiavelli knew better. He knew that to survive in a court of wolves, you must test loyalty before you invest trust. You must create scenarios where their true nature is forced into the light. Not through words. Words are costumes. You test them through action. Through consequence. Through silence. I'm going to give you 5 silent tests. 5 invisible experiments that strip away the performance and show you what lies beneath. These are not games. These are reconnaissance missions into the territory of another person's character. And by the end you will know exactly who stands with you and who stands behind you, waiting for you to turn your back. Each test is more revealing than the last. Each one exposes a deeper layer of deception. Pay attention, because the friend who fails even one of these tests is not your friend. They are a liability. The first test is the most dangerous because it feels like celebration. You share good news. A promotion. A new relationship. A victory you have been working toward. You tell them with excitement, with pride, and you watch their face. This is the moment of truth. A real friend feels your joy as if it were their own. Their eyes light up. Their smile is instant, unforced. They ask questions. They want details. They celebrate without hesitation. But the fake friend? Watch closely. There is a delay. A microsecond where their brain scrambles to arrange their face into the correct expression. The smile comes, but it is slow. Mechanical. And in their eyes you will see it. A flicker. A shadow. Not happiness. Envy. You know this person. You have seen the pause. You told them about your success and they said, "That's great, but that word, but, that is the knife." "That's great, but aren't the hours terrible?" "That's great, but don't you think it's risky?" "That's great, but what about your health?" They cloak their resentment in concern. They wrap their poison in the language of friendship. Envy is more irreconcilable than hatred. The envious man can never forgive you for being what he wishes to be. Why do they do this? Because your success is a mirror reflecting their failure. Your rising means they are still down. And instead of using you as inspiration, they use you as a measuring stick for their inadequacy. They do not hate you. They hate what you represent. The life they do not have the courage to build. Here is the trap you fall into. You ignore the signs. You tell yourself they are just tired, just stressed. You rationalize their coldness because you want to believe they are happy for you. But deep down you feel it. The distance. The chill. and you start to dim your own light to make them comfortable. Stop. The consequence: if you continue celebrating your wins with people who resent them, you will unconsciously start sabotaging yourself. You will shrink. You will fail on purpose just to keep the peace. And they will smile finally as you fall back down to their level. The prescription: share your success with them one more time. Watch their reaction. You see the delay. If you hear the but, if you feel the coldness, cut them out. Not dramatically. Not with confrontation. Just fade. Pull back. Let them wonder where you went. Because the friend who cannot celebrate you does not deserve access to you. Final warning: envy does not fade. It compounds. The higher you rise, the sharper their resentment becomes. Distance yourself now, or they will sabotage you later. The second test requires patience. It requires silence. And it will hurt. Stop initiating contact. Stop texting first. Stop calling. Stop making plans. Just pull back and observe. This is what I call the law of reciprocal effort. You are measuring who values you versus who uses you. A real friend will notice your absence. They will reach out. They will check in. Not because they need something, but because they miss you. Because the friendship is mutual. But the fake friend? Silence. Days turn into weeks. Weeks turn into months. And you hear nothing. They do not wonder where you went. They do not ask if you are okay. They simply move on to the next person who will give them attention, validation, or favors. You have done this before. You stopped reaching out to Z who would reach back. And the silence was deafening. You told yourself they were busy. But you know the truth. Busy is an excuse. Priority is a decision. It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. But most dangerous is to be neither, where you are forgotten the moment you are out of sight. Why do they do this? Because you were never a friend. You were a service. A source of entertainment, emotional labor, or social proof. And when the service stopped, the relationship stopped. Because there was no relationship. There was only transaction. Here is the trap you fall into. You make excuses for them. You tell yourself they are introverted, they are going through something, they are just not good at communication. But you are lying to yourself. Because if they wanted to, they would. People make time for what they value. And they do not value you. The consequence: if you keep chasing people who do not chase you, you will live your entire life performing emotional labor for an audience that does not applaud. You will exhaust yourself trying to maintain one-sided relationships. And you will die never knowing what it feels like to be chosen. The prescription: stop texting. Stop calling. For 30 days, go silent. Track who reaches out. Track who asks where you have been. Anyone who lets you disappear without question is not your friend. They are a ghost pretending to have a pulse. And when the 30 days are over, delete their number. Not out of anger. Out of clarity. Final warning: the people who only appear when you are useful will vanish the moment you need help. Test them now before you are bleeding on the ground wondering why no one came. The third test is simple. But it will feel impossible if you are a people pleaser. Say no. That is it. Say no to a small request. Nothing major. They ask to borrow something. They ask for a favor. They ask for your time. And you say calmly, clearly, no, I cannot do that. Watch what happens. A real friend will respect your boundary. They will say, no problem, I understand. And the friendship continues unchanged. Because healthy people understand that no is not rejection. It is self-respect. But the fake friend? They will punish you. They will guilt-trip you. They will go cold. They will make passive-aggressive comments. They will withdraw affection like a weapon. They will make you feel like you have committed a crime by prioritizing yourself. You know this person. You said no once and they made you pay for it. They stopped responding. They acted wounded. They told mutual friends you were being selfish. And you felt so much guilt that you apologized and said yes the next time just to fix the relationship. The injury we do to a man must be such that we need not fear his revenge. But Machiavelli was not talking about physical injury. He was talking about boundaries. When you set a boundary with a manipulator, they will see it as an attack. Because your boundary disrupts their control. Your no is a threat to their ability to use you. Why do they do this? Because they do not see you as a person. They see you as a resource. And when a resource stops being available, they get angry. Not because they miss you. But because they miss what you provided. Here is the trap you fall into. You confuse their anger with love. You think if they are this upset they must care. But you are wrong. They are not upset because they lost you. They are upset because they lost access to you. The consequence: if you never say no, you will become a doormat. A servant in your own life. You will be surrounded by people who only love you for what you give, never for who you are. And one day when you have nothing left to give, You will look around and realize you are alone. The prescription: say no to one small request this week. Do not explain. Do not apologize. Do not soften it with justifications. Just say I cannot. And observe. If they respect it, keep them. If they punish you, cut them. Because anyone who makes you feel guilty for having boundaries is someone who benefits from you having none. Final warning: boundaries do not push real friends away. They filter out the parasites. Stop. Breathe. I know this is uncomfortable. I know faces are flashing in your mind right now. Names you have not wanted to say out loud. You feel the guilt rising. The voice in your head saying, but they need me. But maybe I am being too harsh. Kill that voice. That voice is not your conscience. That voice is your programming. The conditioning that taught you your worth is measured by how much pain you can absorb for others. It is a lie. What I am giving you is not cruelty. It is clarity. And clarity in the beginning always feels like betrayal. But you will thank me later. Now we go deeper. The fourth test is the most dangerous because it requires you to lower your shield. You share a weakness. Not a major one. Not a secret that could destroy you. But something small. A fear. An insecurity. A mistake you made. Something vulnerable. And you watch what they do with it. A real friend will hold that vulnerability with care. They will not bring it up again unless you do. They will not mock you. They will not use it as ammunition in an argument. They will protect it the way you would protect theirs. But the fake friend? They will weaponize it. Maybe not immediately. Maybe weeks later. Maybe months. But one day when they want to hurt you, when they want to win an argument, when they want to knock you down, they will reach into their arsenal and pull out the very thing you trusted them with. And they will stab you with it. You have felt this. You confided in someone and later, in a moment of conflict, they threw it back in your face. They said, well, you said yourself that you are insecure about, and in that moment you felt the betrayal. Not just of the argument but of the trust. They turned your honesty into a weapon. Never tell your secrets to anyone. It makes you a slave to them. Why do they do this? Because weak people hoard ammunition. They collect your vulnerabilities the way a soldier collects grenades. They smile when you open up, not because they care but because you just handed them leverage. And leverage, to the Machiavellian manipulator, is power. Here is the trap you fall into. You confuse their listening with loyalty. You think, they let me be vulnerable so they must be safe. But listening is not the same as protecting. A spy listens too. The consequence: if you continue sharing your vulnerabilities with people who weaponize them, you will learn to hide. You will close yourself off from everyone, even the good ones, because you cannot tell the difference anymore. And you will die emotionally isolated, not because you are broken, but because you trusted the wrong architects with the blueprints of your soul. The prescription: share one small vulnerability with them. Something true but not catastrophic. I've been feeling anxious lately. I'm worried I am not doing enough. Something honest. Then wait. Weeks. Months. And observe. Do they bring it up to mock you? Do they use it against you? Do they tell others? If they do, they have failed the test. And they must be removed. Not with drama. Not with confrontation. With distance. Slow, cold, irreversible distance. Final warning: your vulnerabilities are keys to your interior world. Vulnerabilities are keys to your interior world. Do not hand them to burglars. The fifth and final test is the one that reveals everything. It is the test that cannot be faked. It is the test that strips away all performance. When you face a real crisis, who shows up? Not who texts. Not who comments on your social media. Not who says, let me know if you need anything, but who actually appears. Who calls without you asking. Who drives to your house. Who sits with you in the silence. Who does not wait to be invited. This is the ultimate test of friendship. Because in prosperity, everyone is your friend. In success, you are surrounded. But in crisis, in failure, in loss, the room empties. And the ones who remain, the ones who do not flinch, the ones who do not ask what is in it for them, those are your people. You have been through this. You lost a job. You went through a breakup. You faced a tragedy. And you looked around and the crowd was gone. The people who said they loved you were nowhere to be found. But there were one or two, maybe three, who stayed. Who showed up. Who held the weight with you. Those are the ones who matter. In prosperity, friends are plentiful. In adversity, not one in 1,000. Why do most people disappear? Because they were never invested in you. They were invested in the version of you that served them. The happy version. The successful version. The version that made them feel good by proximity. But when you are broken, when you are struggling, when you are no longer shining, you become inconvenient. You become work. And they do not have the character to do the work. Here is the trap you fall into. You tell yourself they did not know how to help. You make excuses. They are dealing with their own stuff. But you are wrong. People who care find a way. People who love you do not wait for permission to show up. The consequence: if you continue holding space in your life for people who vanish when you need them most, you will spend your entire life performing. You will hide your pain. You will fake your strength. Because you will learn, through repeated abandonment, that no one can be trusted with your humanity. And you will die surrounded by acquaintances, not friends. The prescription: you do not need to manufacture a crisis. Life will provide one. And when it does, pay attention. Not to who sends a text, but to who shows up, who calls, who sits with you, who does not need you to be okay. Those people, the ones who remain when the lights go out, protect them. Honor them. Love them. Because they are rare. Rarer than gold. Rarer than loyalty. They are the ones who have earned the title of friend. And everyone else, let them go. Not with anger. Not with bitterness. But with clarity. Because you cannot afford to invest your finite energy into people who would not bleed for you. Final warning: the crisis reveals what the good times concealed. Do not ignore the data. Now you see them. The 5 tests. The 5 silent experiments that strip away the mask and reveal the face underneath. The success test. The one who resents your victories. The absence test. The one who never reaches back. The boundary test. The one who punishes your no. The vulnerability test. The one who weaponizes your honesty. The crisis test. The one who vanishes when you fall. You see them in your phone. You see them at your table. You see them in your memories. And now you feel the weight. Because to follow this path, you must make choices that will make you look cold in the eyes of the naive. You will be called ruthless. You will be called selfish. You will be called Machiavellian. Good. Wear those words like armor. Because what they call selfishness, the wise call self-preservation. What they call coldness, the wise call clarity. What they call cruelty, the wise call consequence. You must transition from the savior to the sovereign. A savior pours himself out for everyone until there is nothing left. A sovereign builds a fortress. He protects his energy. He guards his peace. He does not jump into the water to save someone who is drowning on purpose. He throws a rope. And if they do not grab it, he lets them sink. This is not cruelty. This is survival. When you stop trying to save the unsavable, when you stop bleeding for people who would not bandage you, a strange thing happens. You reclaim your power. Your anxiety fades. Your energy returns. Your life begins to reflect the value you finally decided you have. And in that space, in that clarity, you will attract the rare ones. The loyal ones. The ones who pass the test without knowing they were being tested. Because their character is not performance. It is nature. This is the ultimate lesson. You are not responsible for the souls of other men. You are responsible for the vessel that carries your own. Protect it. Guard it. Be ruthless about who you allow on board. But be careful. As you cut these people away, as you rise in silence, as you build your fortress of solitude, you will face a final enemy. The most dangerous one of all. Because once the parasites are gone, once the noise fades, you will be left alone in the room. And you will have to look in the mirror. And you might realize something that will shatter you more than any betrayal ever could. What if the reason you keep attracting fake friends is because you have not been real yourself? What if the weakness is not just out there? What if it is in you? What if you have been the actor too, playing the role of the loyal friend while secretly keeping score, while secretly resenting, while secretly waiting for them to fail your tests? That is a shadow for another time. If this opened your eyes, understand this is only what I can show publicly. There are videos I cannot upload for everyone. There are aspects of human manipulation, of dark psychology, of Machiavellian strategy that I simply cannot discuss on YouTube without being censored or demonetized. The algorithm suppresses the most powerful information because the most powerful information makes people dangerous. And dangerous people do not comply. If you are still here, you are not like the others. Subscribe if you have not. But if you want what is hidden, if you want the uncensored strategies, the darker tests, the psychological warfare tactics that I cannot speak about here, click the join button and step into the inner circle. You will unlock exclusive videos that go deeper into the architecture of manipulation, loyalty, and power. Most will not. That is the point. The weak prefer comfort. The strong prefer truth. Choose.